Not every legend is a myth. Some are flesh and blood. Some legends walk among us, but they aren't born, they are built. Legends are made from iron and sweat, mind and muscle, blood and vision, and victory. Legends are champions. They grow. They win. They conquer. There's a legend behind every legacy. There's a blueprint behind every legend. I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger.
6'2", 240 pounds. Mr. Olympia for the past 5 years. He is preparing to defend his title this year for the last time.
All Mr. Universes from the past 5 years or so come get together in one contest and to find out who is the best of all the Mr. Universes. So they created the Mr. Olympia contest, which is then the top contest, and whoever wins that is the top bodybuilder.
And you are the top bodybuilder.
Right.
Every legacy is different, but every legacy can be great. My dream was to leave a mark in bodybuilding, to become a champion who would always be remembered. It took sweat, it took sacrifice and pain, but ultimately it led to triumph. When I read the "I'll be back" line, I said to Jim Cameron, I said, to me it sounds weird when I say "I'll be back." I said, and he says, well, how would you say it? And I say, "I will be back." And he says, was a documentary about explaining bodybuilding. It was not about me, because you never know who is going to win. Doing Stay Hungry, the film that I did before Pumping Iron, I had to reduce my body weight down to 210. So the question was really, can I come back again with 240 pounds and then win the Mr. Olympia again? So that was questionable. So therefore, no one really focused on me per se, but they focused more on bodybuilding itself. I just happened to emerge as the personality in the bodybuilding field. And so that's why the cameras were then more on me. I happened to win the competition against some tough competitions, against Lou Ferrigno, for instance, and Sergio Nubret and Franco Colombo, and guys like that were really tough competitors. I think it was also, it lent itself for me being myself. So I think that people didn't only just see me in Stay Hungry as an actor, but they saw all of a sudden what I'm really like. So I got, Conan the Barbarian because of Pumping Iron. It was like the movie where I showed my personality, and Ed Pressman saw that movie, Pumping Iron, and they said, finally we found a guy that has the personality and has the acting ability and has the body that is able to play Conan the Barbarian.
Franco is pretty smart, but Franco is a child. And when it comes to the day of the contest, I'm his father. He comes to me for advices. So it's not that hard for me to give him the wrong advices.
Being one of the most intense individuals in the gym, did that fire just click on when you walked in the gym every day, or did it take a few sets to get to that point, or were you ready to rock as soon as you walked in the door?
Well, because I was so enthusiastic about, achieving my vision and turning my vision into reality, and winning one championship after the next, there was always excitement and enthusiasm there. So when I went into the gym, I put my gym bag down and I immediately attacked the weights. There was many times we started out by doing maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes of ab work in the beginning to warm up, to do maybe 500 Roman chair sit-ups or something like that to warm up, and then we got right into it, or we go right into the whole thing. But it was right away, warm-up set, then the next weight up, boom, boom, all the way to the top until you just can't do it. And supersetting, everything was always supersetting, and 3 pumped sets and 4 sets in a row, 5 sets in a row. So it changed on what exercise we did, but it was always all out. And like I said, the training partner was always responsible to challenge you at all times. So that was the thing. I challenged my training partners, if it was Frank Zane, if it was Dave Draper, if it was Sergio Oliva, whoever the training partner was at any given moment, we challenged each other kind of in a fun way, but there was challenge there so that you don't slack off, so you don't give yourself a break. You get into training that you're not going to go and become a champion from one day to the next. But the question is, how can I speed up the process? then the important thing is that you train the proper way, which is to train the basics. That if it is the squats, if the two-arm curl, if it's the bent over rowing, if it's the clean and the press, the bench press, the incline press, the dumbbell press, all of those basic exercises. And that's what you need to do, especially the last 3 months before competition. You got to shock the muscle, and shock the muscle with different kind of training principles. Expose your weak points. You're gonna go and hit those marks, and then you move the bar higher, and you feel that with hard work, you can achieve the goals and you can become successful.
The biggest name in competitive bodybuilding is Arnold Schwarzenegger, the current and defending champion of Mr. Olympia. 28 years old, 6'2", 240 pounds. Arnold has held the title for the past 5 consecutive years, in addition to being Mr. Universe 5 times.
The most important thing is that you have a vision, that you have a goal. To have that vision that I want to be the greatest bodybuilder of all time, you have to have a goal. Now, it doesn't have to be that specific goal, but it has to have some goal. This is why I always recommend to people, sit down, take your time, and start thinking about, why do you want to work out? And that can't be as crazy as it is. It could be, I want to impress girls. If that's your goal, so be it, but it motivates you. It could be that you're emulating a certain, bodybuilder. Have those pictures put all over the wall like I did when I was a kid. So that every day when I go to sleep, every day when I wake up, I look at those pictures and they motivate me. You need that motivation, and then therefore you have this kind of imprint in front of you all the time, and you know exactly what you're chasing. This is why I always smiled when I was in the gym. People always came up to me and says, why are you smiling? You're working out 5 hours a day. You're doing the same as the other guys, but the other guys have a sour face. They're pissed off that they have to do another rep or another set or something. I looked forward to. Why? Because I knew that every rep that I did and every set that I did and more weights that I lifted, I get one step closer to turning that vision into reality.
It's getting closer and closer. Incredible satisfaction.
I remember that when I weighed 245 pounds, and Bob Rafelson, the director of Stay Hungry, said to me that I'm interested in having you in a movie. And then he said, but I don't want you to weigh more than 210 pounds. So I said to him, well, it's funny you come to me and you want me to be in a movie, but I'm weighing 245, 246. But he demanded that. And he says, look, it's very simple. On the day we start shooting, he says, I'm going to put you on a scale. And if you don't make the 210, you're out. I worked on it. I started visualizing myself very clearly as a lean athlete, because that's the only way I could lose that weight and all of a sudden get interested in running more. Because up until that point, I ran like 3 miles after training or before training or whatever. But now all of a sudden it was 5 miles, 6 miles, 7 miles, 8 miles in order to lose the weight. And I did everything with high reps. And I was watching my diet, what I eat and all those kind of things. And the day before, with Bob Rafelson, he says, let's step on the scale. And I stepped on the scale and I weighed 209. So it just shows to you what is possible if you visualize exactly what you want to look like. So it can go one way, which is that you can lose weight and get trim and get slim and everything, get the abs out and all this, or you go the other way and you gain weight because you see yourself big and you see yourself as a winner of a Mr. Olympia or something like that.
I knew all along that it doesn't matter if I go down to 200 or to 160 pounds. Because if I make my mind up, it doesn't matter how much weight it is.
Win Mr. Olympia, and I was more hungry and more interested, more excited about the fact of becoming a champion and being ripped on stage and being cut and winning the trophy and all those kind of things. Because I knew that if I would just, have a temporary joy here and eat and cheat, I'm most likely not going to make it. That someone else is going to walk right by me and someone else is going to grab the title. Because many times these competitions were very, very close. And I remember especially in 1980 where it was just 2 points. And, any mistake could have cost me the title. So this is not a mistake that I want to make. I want to be responsible, that I do everything that I can to be a winner.
Yeah, it's just coming. Fingers right across there. Yeah.
In my days, we were not as sophisticated when it comes to dieting, and we didn't have the food supplements that are available today with getting definition and, cutting down and all those things. We had food supplements that were really good for gaining weight, but we didn't really have much available to lose weight. So to me, my way of really getting defined and getting kind of a really mature definition, rather than just dropping quickly 10 pounds or 15 pounds with a watermelon diet or something like that. So that's not the right way to go. So I always felt like if I do instead of 20 sets, 30 sets, 35 sets a body part. So I went all out, especially before competition when I wanted to cut down. It was to pile on as many sets as possible. So yes, you were tired, but so what? I never felt sorry for myself. Let me tell you that it all paid off. Well, for me, the most important thing always to have a deadline. When I, for instance, had a competition, and let's say the competition was in the middle of September, and it was now beginning of summer, so there was no more time to screw around. So there was the time now to get going on a diet, to get going with the training, to not slack off at all because there was a deadline there. The day of the competition, I had to be in the best shape possible. It was very important to pick that time and to say, this is when I have to be in top shape, and then to work towards that. But it's not just with the competition. It could also be that you say to yourself, the summer starts in June. I'm going to go to the beach in June, and at that time, I want to be in great shape. So that creates an urgency that makes you really start training hard and taking it seriously. Because if you don't have a specific plan,
legends and champions, they grow, they win, they conquer. There's a legend behind every legacy. There's a blueprint behind every legend. I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger.